as we're looking at who Jesus is, the most important thing is that we become more like Jesus. And the only way that we can do that accurately is to really keep going back to the Gospels, go back to those original eyewitness sources that say, we're telling you about the Jesus that we saw, and the Jesus we touched, and the Jesus we heard. And it's like you're hearing from people who said, we got to investigate Jesus hands-on, and this is what he's like. And the reason that I think that's so important is because one of the comments that stuck with me when I was when we were promoting with Sophie and Sarah, we were promoting Why Jesus online, and one of the comments was, yes, Jesus matters, Jesus is important, but not the Jesus in the Bible. The Bible has misrepresented Jesus. And that really made me think. I thought, well, what other Jesus can there be? What other pictures of Jesus are there? And I'm just wondering if you guys have had any conversations where people have said, I think this about Jesus. And like, remember when Jesus said, who do you say that I am? What do you guys hear out there? How do people describe Jesus?
Oh, I see. Well, a prophet, that's what you mostly hear. A really good prophet, or maybe even the best prophet. That's probably the most popular thing people will say.
What do you think they mean by prophet? What, like?
Kind of like a holy man, or somebody that stood out in society, like Gandhi, or, people like that would, like, spiritual leaders,
Somebody kind of
way up there.
Holy and elevated and in touch with the higher truths. And
yeah, because they kind of want to give honor, like, they don't want to be, dishonoring Jesus because it's, pretty important, but they also don't believe that he was the Christ, or that he was the Son of God, or that he's a redemptive God, that, that part, that Jesus was the Son of God, that's going too far for people. They don't, it's a stumbling block, just like it always was, right?
Yes, Jesus is either a stumbling block. What is it in Galatians? Either a stumbling block to the Jews or foolishness to the Gentiles. Yeah, so you get those two strong reactions of wait a minute, let's not make too much of Jesus. He was a nice guy, or he was a prophet, he was a holy guy, or he was a teacher, a good teacher. He had good things to say about being nice. And I think people can pick and choose sometimes about Jesus and say, okay, he was gentle, he was meek and mild, he was friendly, he was loving, he was peaceful. And we make our own collage of what maybe Jesus looked like. And I think the task for every generation, for my kids, Sophie, for your friends, for Bible college, the task for every generation is to go back and discover in the Gospels, not just with academic theologies and the books that are written about Jesus and the philosophies about Jesus and the theologies of atonement. There's just so many books written about Jesus, but actually getting back to who Jesus is. This image of Jesus as sort of this life rescue ring around the world, there's an illustration of how sometimes we want to go about life on our own effort and in our own agenda. And the illustration I heard was, you might be a really good swimmer, but can you swim you might be able to swim further than the next guy, but none of us can swim to the ultimate goal. And say heaven, the goal is to swim to Hawaii. Nobody, doesn't matter if you're an Olympic swimmer, you can't get there on your own, even if you're better than everybody else. We need Jesus to be God's life raft. He's our rescue, and his very name, Jesus, means God to the rescue. And it's such a wonderful, powerful image, just his name, that he's here to seek and to save. And my prayer is that as we are meeting together as a group, we would be asking God to give us why Jesus conversations from week to week here. And we'll be able to start to plant seeds of conversations that God will grow. We don't have, it's not a heavy obligation. It's not a guilt thing. It's an invitation is all it is. It might be an invitation to this group. It might be an invitation to have a conversation about what God has been doing in your life. It might be an invitation to pick up the Bible and start to read the Gospels even together. Some of these passages that we're going to be looking at in the weeks ahead. So I think that would be great if we would start as Christians to be praying for God. Give me more of those moments and give me the guts to follow up. I've got a story I'll tell you next week about a new friend I made across the street from us. He's a biker, and we quickly became friends, and he said, you know, I think we're like brothers, you know, we share a lot in common, and yeah, you're like my brother, we're such a good friend. And then he found out that I had been a pastor. He went, whoa, man, I'm an atheist, you know, and it set up this whole, I said, well, you know, theist, atheist, it's only one letter. And then he laughed, and we laughed together. And ever since, we've been getting closer and closer in our conversations. I'll tell you a little bit more about him another time. But it's just one of those relationships that I think God has started just by both of us having a motorbike. You know, and we look for those little opportunities to make connections, and then we let God into that, and we create conversations where we can share what Jesus has done in our lives.